Last year I created a mod showcase that demonstrated 25 mods, from a complete graphical overhaul to reworked AI to colourful radio icons. The mods I'm going to provide in this video, however, will aim to improve the core gameplay of Grand Theft Auto 4 while not changing the experience to something unlike the original game, at least not too much. One by one, let's add these mods and see what game we have by the end. And lastly, this video is going to be uploaded with a 20-minute raw gameplay showing off all these mods but without the talking. Although I'm mostly going to be showcasing gameplay improvements, I thought I'd address one of the biggest complaints about Grand Theft Auto 4 in recent times, which is the graphics. Enter RealityIV 2.0. Visually, this doesn't stray too far away from vanilla compared to the usual oversaturation and brightness of the big players like CleanIV and Ice Enhancer, both of which are the cause of high controversy. But I can't see that being the same here with this modest and more simple overhaul. It shouldn't hurt your FPS either, it's not demanding like so many ENBs. You have the option of depth of field and motion blur too, it's much appreciated and is easily switched off with the press of a button. You can see the visual differences here. When comparing directly, it doesn't really do nice things to a scene, like removing clarity or dulling distant lights. But those finer things aren't so noticeable during normal gameplay. Beautiful, isn't it? This mod really does shine in moments like this, or in moments of darkness. Cold, lonely darkness. This has always been the prettiest, most enjoyable time of day for me when playing games. It's like RealityIV knows this and makes unlit areas unlit. Game studios seem to be afraid of this idea. So thank you DKtronics for making such a wonderful visual enhancement, and thank you to Lucifer and our Discord community for making me aware of it. The creator is currently working on a third installment, and just look at it, it's stunning. Please go over to his channel and give him some much deserved praise. But if you feel as though the colours and flash of this wasn't quite your thing, you could alternatively use the even simpler Clean4. This tries even less to change the appearance but does a great job regardless, removing the filter and adjusting the saturation responsibly. When people criticise GTA 4, I think 80% of the time it's regarding the driving, the other times being the bland colour palette. Well, with realistic driving and flying, prepare to traverse the city like never before. And the difference is obvious. Just try drifting around a street corner and you will feel it. Maybe you can even see it in this gameplay. It's better, smoother. The mod creator saw what limits Rockstar gave all these individual vehicles and removed them, adjusted them and reapplied them, resulting in greater player freedom and more lifelike control, so he says. This is nothing less than a complete vehicle overhaul and it's more than a welcome change. After all, driving is so integral to any Grand Theft Auto, and many players have this mod to thank for perfecting the most controversial part of 4's gameplay. Honestly, the game's vehicle classes have never felt so different. There's satisfaction in purposely choosing a muscle car over a sports, for example, whereas before a car was just a car to me, some fast, some slow. It's just amazing how realistically you lose control, whether due to the weather or a burnout. Bikes are notably better too, with less fishtailing as detailed, and helicopters are fun. Controlling them is a skill you must learn, and mastering them only comes after much practice. I need more practice. The mod traffic flow pairs well with this. It gives you a wider range of vehicles to choose from on the street. A common GTA series wide problem I'm sure we've all experienced is an overabundance in the same cars spawning over and over. This isn't a coincidence, it's optimization, and the mod says to hell with that. Not really, it's quite careful actually. Let's finally talk guns with the Weapon Realism mod. This tweaks all the weapon stats to a noticeable effect. One of the most unfortunate drawbacks of 4's gunplay was the short range of most weapons, which this mod corrects. And the long time to kill has been shortened with a damage buff. No longer will your weapons feel quite so weak and sluggish. Magazine capacities have been tweaked for realism's sake, and overall Nico cannot hold quite as much ammo. The description says he can carry about 10 magazines total, which is admittedly still unrealistic but not as excessive as vanilla GTA 4. Not forgetting factors such as accuracy and the force of each gunshot, how they affect physics. Again, everything tweaked. Previously the shootouts could get so tiring, after a while you're no longer shooting humans but bullet sponges. Contrasted with now and I can put someone down swiftly, my weapons feel dangerous. But don't forget, this goes both ways. You've now got to be more careful in gunfights. Perhaps one person alone doesn't stand a chance, but a group can chip away at your health faster than before. It's as if the difficulty has gone from easy to normal, though you should quickly adjust to the change. That can't be said for Keelo's realistic weapon damage, an alternate mod I'm sure many will prefer like myself. Be warned, the difficulty is ramped up significantly. I'd say it's equivalent to very hard. Shotguns and automatic weapons are absolutely brutal. Don't get caught off guard. All of a sudden Nico doesn't feel quite like the powerhouse he usually is. Humans and cars alike are torn to shreds by the Uzi. Though just about anything has the potential to tank your health in seconds. Good fucking luck. It's unfortunate how Rockstar handled currency in GTA 4. Let's be honest, 5 did it so much better. In that game you could get super materialistic, buying and customizing vehicles for example, or clothes, weapons, tattoos, haircuts. Even financial ventures were available to the player, say buying some shares in the stock market, or taking ownership of a business. And your bank account felt it too, so it mattered. In 4, you're so limited. Money eventually becomes a meaningless number. What's the difference between 100,000 and 100 million when all that's left to do is replenish ammo? The difference between pulling off a heist in GTA 5 compared to 4 is that afterwards you're excited to spend the money, and having 100,000 or 100 million is different, it's night and day. Well, these are just mods, remember, and simple ones at that, so I'm not going to link you to a dozen of them designed for spending money, business simulators and whatnot. No, simply the bank account mod. I'm not saying the solution is storing away your money, but the consequences of not doing so. And the consequences would make any dev studio tremble in fear of player backlash. Because I'm sure most casuals would not appreciate the change I'm about to detail, and that's fine, but we're no longer playing GTA 4 casually. Tweaking the ini file, this mod allows us to adjust how much money we lose when we die or get arrested. I opted for all the money. So as players, keeping anything in our pockets is a big risk, and it becomes a submission to get to an ATM and store away the new proceeds before we inevitably die next. To some this may be a chore, but to me it's a new, fun and immersive part of the everyday gameplay. And I'm not kidding either. Let's say you just robbed the Bank of Liberty for $250,000. If you get run over on the way home, that money is gone for good. But of course, it doesn't have to be that way. To achieve a 100% loss of money, all you have to do is enter a negative number, but you could just as easily say 5,000 or 50,000. It's down to you. Now you might be thinking, well, so much for simplicity, but don't worry, I've uploaded my version of the ini file for you all to download, the exact copy of the one I use, assuming you want to have the same settings as me. You still need to download and install the original mod, but make sure to drag and drop my file into the scripts folder afterwards. Oh, I should mention, even if the player's money is stored, I've asked that each death or arrest still takes a small amount from the bank account, $2,000. Wouldn't want you getting comfortable or something. At the beginning, this was brutal and it kept me very poor for the first few months in game. But eventually, as jobs became higher paying, the damage to my bank account was less and less painful. Up until leaving broker, I had no more than $7,000. But I saved up, earned interest even, and tried my hardest not to lose any more of my hard-earned cash. Believe me, I'd have much more if it wasn't for this mod, and yet I'm happy. So although you'll struggle in the beginning, that's part of the fun, and you'll be all the more proud of the wealth you accumulate in just a couple in-game weeks or months. For me, the bank account mod fixes what's most wrong regarding GTA 4's currency, the value of money. Each well-paying job is a gift, and each death a regretful sting. But I don't reload, that's cheating. And guess what? Now weapon realism is genuinely going to be keeping you on your toes. Nico's life is more at risk than ever, and that holds more weight than before. And you better start driving straight, wouldn't want to get arrested now, would you? Perhaps when your wealth has grown significantly, say after you complete Free Leaf Clover, think about installing some more mods to spend your newfound fortune. Unless you actually did get run over on the way home. If you'd like to see me cover what mods could do this for you, please tell me. The Grand Theft Auto 4 experience has been improved, and how fun is this game now? To the modders featured in this video, I want to quickly take this moment to thank you for generously providing me and the community with your creations for free. You all deserve so much more recognition and praise, thank you. Please do let me know everyone if you're going to be using the mods I provided or the alternatives. I'm excited to see the comments come through and hear what thoughts you have on the video. On screen is even more gameplay of all the mods I used today, but without the annoying commentator reading the script. Goodbye folks, thanks for being here.